Meng Wanzhou was detained at the request of the United States over accusations that she violated sanctions on Iran. Since then, the implications of her arrest have ricocheted around the world and called into question efforts to end the trade war between China and the United States. James Ransley has more.
It's thought that telecom giant Huawei's chief financial officer, Meng Wanzhou, is being held here in this Canadian prison while she waits to find out if she's been granted bail. China's foreign ministry has summoned the US ambassador in Beijing, demanding details of the detention and insisting that America withdraw Ms. Meng's arrest warrant. The arrest happened as US President Donald Trump and China's leader Xi Jinping attempted to de-escalate a bitter trade war at the G20 summit last week. America's trade representative insists that Ms. Meng's arrest won't have much of an impact on talks.
It is totally separate from anything that I work on or anything that the trade policy people in the administration work on. So for us, it's unrelated. It's criminal justice.
The Huawei executive is accused of violating US sanctions by selling telecom equipment to Iran. She was taken into custody last week in Vancouver while changing planes. China's state media called the arrest a targeted attack against China's leading technology companies, and Canada's role as a participating wrecker is becoming more and more obvious. According to court documents, Ms. Meng has long-standing ties to Vancouver dating back at least 15 years, as well as significant property holdings in the city. Her family also sought leave to remain in Vancouver if she was granted bail, with her husband saying he plans to bring the couple's daughter to Vancouver to attend school during the trial. Meng Wanzhou's court hearing is due to resume on Monday. James Ransley, BBC News.
A crucial parliamentary vote on the deal for Britain's exit from the European Union will go ahead this week. That's according to the Brexit Secretary, Stephen Barclay. He said it was the only way to deliver what people had voted for, but there had been predictions of a heavy defeat for the government. Here's our political correspondent, Ian Watson.
Is she seeking divine intervention? Theresa May attended church in her constituency this morning. She's weathered many political storms, but she's still having to fight for her deal and for her job. Some ministers think the outlook is so bleak she should postpone this week's crucial Commons vote. But the Brexit Secretary said it won't be called off.
The vote is going ahead, and that's because it is a good deal. It's the only deal. And it's important that we don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We move into uncharted waters. Yes, the Prime Minister is fighting for us and will continue in post. But the question for...
Can she stay on as Prime Minister?
Yes, absolutely.
She can stay on as Prime Minister,
absolutely.
Even if she loses the vote.
Yes.
The Brexit Secretary voted to leave the EU, but his better-known colleague was the face of the campaign. Boris Johnson was asked in Parliament this week what his big idea was now. Well, today he revealed it. Hold back some of the divorce bill until we get a better deal.
Unless they help us, then there is a risk of no deal. And to incentivise them further, we should say that we will delay the payment of at least half the 39. Can I just finish this? At least half the 39 billion until they've done a free trade deal by the end of 2020, and that is the way to, I think, to put a bit of a tiger in the tank.
So if he doesn't like Theresa May's deal, would he like to replace her as Conservative leader?
I will give you an absolute categorical promise that I will continue to advocate what I think is the most sensible,
I'm asking you to promise that you're not going to stand against her, because you are going to stand against her.
I'm going to offer you the most sensible plan to get out of this mess.
The People's Vote campaign believes the final say on Brexit shouldn't be left to politicians at all. And at a rally in East London, this Labour Shadow Minister declared her support for a new referendum and wanted her party leadership to do the same.
The promises made in 2016 are so far removed from the reality of the 585-page withdrawal agreement that it's time to take the Brexit decision back to the people.
The Cabinet Minister, Amber Rudd, has talked about the possibility of another referendum if Theresa May's deal falls. And another government minister today says it looks increasingly likely, but MPs have to vote for it. And the attitude of Labour's leadership could be crucial, but they seem to be in no hurry to commit.
We would push for a general election, and that we believe to be our absolute priority. All other options should be on the table, including the possibility of a popular vote, a referendum, later down the line.
Many MPs are raining on the Prime Minister's parade, uniting against her deal, but deciding on an alternative is more complex.
Well, Ian gave us more of an update a little earlier.
Theresa May is staring defeat in the face, but Downing Street is insisting that Tuesday's vote will indeed go ahead. But I have to tell you that very senior figures, even at this late stage, are still pressing for a postponement. What she intends to do is speak to some of her MPs who still have very serious doubts about the arrangements for avoiding a hard border in Ireland, the so-called backstop. She spoke to her Irish counterpart, Leo Varadkar. Now, Downing Street know if she can allay those concerns, the rebellion will diminish significantly, but it's still difficult to see what of substance she can offer that can really make a difference. Interestingly, tonight, another development: Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader, under a bit of pressure. Prominent leaders from socialist parties across Europe have delivered him this letter, calling on him explicitly to back a new referendum on what they call a people's voice before Britain leaves the European Union. Now, Theresa May said if she loses this crucial vote here at Westminster on Tuesday, we're in uncharted waters. And I think she's right in this respect. The only certainty here at Westminster is uncertainty.
Let's get some of the day's other news now. Initial results from the snap general election in Armenia suggest that the party of the acting Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan has a clear lead. It's won at least 60% of the votes counted so far. Mr. Pashinyan came to power in the South Caucasus country in a peaceful revolution earlier this year. The two sides in Yemen's war have held their first round of talks in Sweden. Discussions were between the Yemeni government and Houthi rebel representatives. They focused on a potential prisoner swap, allowing humanitarian aid and stopping the violence in the main port of Hodeidah. The deadline for detaining the former Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn runs out shortly. He's being held as part of an investigation into suspected financial misconduct. Mr. Ghosn was arrested in Japan last month and has been detained since then. He's accused of underreporting his earnings for several years. The Nissan board sacked him in November, but he remains chairman and chief executive of Renault. Saudi Arabia says it will not extradite the two key suspects in the murder of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Last week, a Turkish court issued arrest warrants for Ahmed al-Asiri, a senior intelligence official, and former royal advisor Saud al-Qahtani, saying Turkey didn't believe the Saudi authorities would take formal action against them. Mr. Khashoggi was killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October. Hundreds of thousands of homes in the southeast of the United States are without power after a weekend of heavy snowfall. A state of emergencies has been declared in North Carolina and Virginia, parts of which reported nearly half a metre of snow, causing problems for motorists and leading to the cancellation of over 1,500 flights. A 26-year-old man has appeared in court in New Zealand charged with the murder of the British backpacker Grace Millane, who went missing 9 days ago. The man can't be named for legal reasons. Ms. Millane, who was 22 and from Essex, had been travelling round the world after graduating from university. Phil Mercer gave us this update from Sydney.
Judge Evangelos Thomas told members of Grace Millane's family who were in court that he understood that their grief must be desperate. The judge also saying that justice for Grace, he hoped, would be swift and fair. This 26-year-old man who has been charged with her murder, he was dressed in a blue boiler suit when he made his appearance. He didn't enter a plea, he didn't say anything, nodding only occasionally to the judge during this very brief hearing. He'll be remanded in custody and is due back in court towards the end of January. Now, the judge in this case had offered to lift the suppression order on this suspect's identity, but the man's lawyer has made an appeal, so for legal reasons we can't report his name.
The investigation in the case is obviously ongoing. Have we heard any more about that?
Well, over the weekend, the police searched a bit of bushland about 25 kilometres from the centre of Auckland where a body was found. The police say that their search for Grace is over. There will be a formal identification process through a post-mortem. And the police are at pains to point out that the investigation is continuing. A lot of work still needs to be done. And of course, fundamental questions need to be addressed. How and why did this young British woman die? She'd been in New Zealand travelling alone for about a fortnight following a group tour in South America. This was supposed to have been the adventure of a lifetime, but tragically for Grace Millane's family from England, it has ended in the most horrible of circumstances.
In the New Zealand court system, is it unusual for an accused to have the name to be suppressed?
It does happen, and what we've had now is that the judge was willing to lift the suppression order on the suspect's identity. The lawyer said that he would make an appeal to ensure that his client's identity remained a secret. So for the next 20 days, that suppression order will be in place. Up until that time, it is against New Zealand law to report the identity of this man. We do understand that he was living in the Auckland hotel where Grace Millane was last seen at the start of December, and she was missing for about 9 days before a body was found in hills to the west of Auckland. And as we say, this is a police investigation that is continuing.
Phil Mercer there. Do stay with us on BBC News, still to come. Putting the entire history of life on Earth online. Scientists plan to digitise millions of fossils hidden away in drawers for years.
John Lennon was shot at the entrance to the Dakota building in the center of New York. There's been a crowd here standing in more or less silent vigil, and the flowers have been piling up.
The 14th ceasefire of this war ended at the walls of the old city of Dubrovnik. This morning, witnesses said shells were landing every 20 seconds.
People are celebrating the passing of a man they hold responsible for hundreds of deaths and oppression. Elsewhere, people have been gathering to mourn his passing.
Imelda Marcos, the widow of the former president of the Philippines, has gone on trial in Manila. She's facing 7 charges of tax evasion. She pleaded not guilty.
The Prince and Princess of Wales are to separate. A statement from Buckingham Palace said the decision had been reached amicably.
This is BBC World News, the latest headlines. In her request for bail, the Huawei executive detained in Canada has said she is innocent of fraud charges and unwell and won't flee the country if freed. The British government is continuing to insist that a parliamentary vote on its Brexit deal will go ahead despite significant opposition from MPs. French President Emmanuel Macron will address the nation later as he tries to bring 4 weeks of violent anti-government protests to an end. France has now had 4 weekends of demonstrations against fuel tax rises, high living costs and other issues. About 125,000 protesters were on the streets on Saturday, with more than 1,700 arrested. Lucy Williamson is in Paris.
President Macron is facing a couple of problems tonight. One is that if he tackled these protests a few weeks ago, he might have got away with simply cancelling the rise in fuel taxes. The trouble is, since then, the movement has grown, and with it, the movement's demands. And the second problem he faces is that it's also a very diverse movement. People have joined it, bringing all kinds of grievances. So satisfying all of them is going to be quite difficult. And the government spokesman today said he thought it might be an almost made-to-measure solution. So President Macron's speech tomorrow is going to have to do quite a lot of things. And I think first and foremost, he's going to want to convince people that he's really listening, that France's democratically elected leaders feel responsible to those who are struggling and really hear what they're trying to say. And that is probably going to mean some more financial concessions, whether that's bonuses for low-paid workers or lifting some taxes. The real problem he's got is trying to do all of that whilst not looking weak and not rowing back on the reform programme he came to power to deliver.
Ministers from some 130 countries are gathering in Poland for the final week of the UN Climate Change Conference. Ahead of their arrival, the United States, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait said they were only prepared to note rather than welcome a landmark report which recommends steep emission cuts to keep temperature rises below 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. Thousands of people have held a rally in the Indian capital, Delhi, to demand the right to build a Hindu temple at a controversial site in Ayodhya. A mosque there was destroyed by hardline Hindus 26 years ago. The issue is one of the most divisive in the country. The England footballer Raheem Sterling says that newspaper coverage of young black footballers helps fuel racism and aggressive behaviour. His comments come after police say they're studying video footage thought to show racial abuse being aimed at the Manchester City striker playing against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Saturday. Andy Swiss reports.
He is one of English football's leading stars, but as Raheem Sterling went to retrieve the ball at Stamford Bridge last night, a spectator allegedly racially abused him. Police are now reviewing the footage, Chelsea say they're also investigating, and now Sterling has had his say. In a post on Instagram, he said, "As you can see by my reaction, I just had to laugh because I don't expect no better," before claiming that some newspaper articles about players help fuel racism and aggressive behaviour. He referred to a headline about his Manchester City teammate Tosin Adarabioyo buying a house for his mother, which he said painted the player in a bad light, while he said a similar story about a white teammate, Phil Foden, was worded more positively. Sterling said this was unacceptable and players should be given an equal chance. Well, here at Manchester City, Raheem Sterling has become a rare talent for both club and country. But he himself is no stranger to headlines criticising his lifestyle rather than focusing on his football. This summer, there was scrutiny of a gun tattoo on his leg. Sterling said it was in memory of his late father, while other articles have focused on how much money he spends. The anti-racism group Kick It Out said Sterling's abuse yesterday shows what is still going on in football, adding they'd already commented about the way Sterling has been treated differently by the media.
There is a feeling, and certainly seen the comments from other footballers, other black and ethnic minority footballers under Raheem's comments. I think certainly shows there's a huge amount of support there, and certainly a feeling of institutional racism within sectors of the media.
And a recent report by Kick It Out says racism in football is rising. Last weekend, a banana skin was thrown onto the pitch after Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored for Arsenal. Raheem Sterling's treatment and comments have only intensified the focus. One of English football's most talented and most scrutinised stars, hoping for a fair and level playing field. Andy Swiss, BBC News.
Well, when Donald Trump entered the White House just under 2 years ago, the number of illegal immigrants living in America was at its lowest level for almost a decade. More and more people were using legal means to enter the country. But the president's attempts to restrict legal migration may now be forcing others to sneak into the country. Recently, thousands of Central Americans fleeing violence and poverty started their journey to the U.S. from the town of Tapachula, southern Mexico, travelling more than 2,000 miles to the town of Tijuana on the border with the U.S. They're now camped out there, frustrated by tough new restrictions on asylum and willing to do anything to live in America. James Cook reports.
Charlotte is 3 years old. She's travelled 3,000 miles from Honduras, and the next few steps will shape her entire life. Her mother is risking all to search for the promised land.
Todo sacrificio valdrá la pena.
God willing, all the sacrifice will be worth it, she says. For a toddler, the scramble under the border must be terrifying. And for Charlotte's grandmother, it's almost too much. Now, the law says, this American agent must assess whether the family has credible fear of persecution or torture, and if so, let them in to consider a claim for asylum. At this border, powerful forces collide. It's here that the poverty of developing nations clashes with the wealth of the United States. And it's here too that the hopes of migrants come up against a president who insists he is putting America first. Donald Trump says the 10,000 caravan members camped out in Tijuana endanger US lives and jobs. He's made it harder for them to claim asylum legally, and he's still trying to build a great wall to keep them out. But the American dream has a powerful pull.
For
me, the American dream is to live there, to work there, to support my family and to live peacefully, which I couldn't do in my own country.
Last month, a handful of migrants breached the border. Many more were driven back by US tear gas. The crossing was shut down on one of the busiest shopping days of the year, costing $5 million for businesses on the frontier.
I think the people who live along the border understand the border very well. They understand how dynamic it is, how it's a shared economy. Maybe for some people in other parts of the United States, they don't really understand that. A lot of cars are manufactured there and come over here. It's just not possible to just draw a line and say we're going to close that.
Rachel is the baby of the migrant caravan. She joined it at 19 days old. Her entire family was caught up in the chaos at the border.
We went to the border and they threw gases at us and also at my little girl. So after that we decided to stay in Mexico and just look for a job.
So far they've traveled as far as the Atlantic Ocean is wide, but they're no closer to knowing their fate. James Cook, BBC News, Tijuana in northern Mexico.
Now, how do you give fossils a future? Well, apparently you put them online, and that's exactly what London's Natural History Museum and Washington's Smithsonian Institution in the US have set out to do. They're digitally recording millions of fossils in their collections, many of which have been hidden away in drawers for decades. Our science correspondent Victoria Gill has the story.
So we're in our brachiopod collection.
Tucked into thousands of drawers, the entire history of life on Earth.
There's dozens of things in every box, in every... Wow.
Yes.
There are 40 million fossils stored here at the Smithsonian Museum, and the team is carrying out the mammoth task of digitally recording every single one.
We have drawers here in the collection that haven't been opened in decades. The data held within museum drawers is trapped, and we are bringing that trapped data out into the light. We're mobilizing it for research.
Photographing and logging the details of each specimen in this collection alone will take an estimated 50 years. But it's part of an effort by institutions around the world to create a global digital museum where every piece of the fossil record can be studied online. The devastating fire at Brazil's National Museum this year destroyed knowledge that was amassed over 2 centuries and was a stark reminder of the need to protect and log such scientifically valuable collections.
This goes way beyond ensuring this huge collection. It means that this Triceratops skull, for example, could be in dozens of places at once, anywhere in the world, for any scientist to study.
And with a very detailed digital scan and a 3D printer, researchers here at Bristol University have been able to bring these dinosaurs into their lab.
This model is great because it allows us to kind of look in detail at the anatomy, and you'll pick it up and hold it and turn it around.
Amazing.
And now we can actually test ideas about how these animals actually functioned.
The digital skulls can be given virtual stress tests to work out what the animals ate, how they moved, and so what their environment was like 150 million years ago. Museums have gathered vast amounts of evidence of hundreds of millions of years of evolution. Now the challenge is to make sure it's shared and studied, not hidden away in the dark. Victoria Gill, BBC News in Washington, D.C.
Now, let's just show you the latest pictures of celebrations in the Argentine capital, Buenos Aires. You can see them there. Thousands of River Plate football fans have brought the city centre to a virtual standstill as they celebrate their team winning the Copa Libertadores. That's the biggest contest in South American club football. The game was played, though, more than 10,000 kilometres away in Spain, where they beat their Argentine rivals, Boca Juniors, 3-1 in extra time. And the match was actually played at the Bernabeu Stadium in Madrid after being postponed last month when Boca's team bus was attacked by River fans in Buenos Aires. They're having a good old time there. Now, in the countdown to Christmas, we just want to bring you these pictures of a scuba diving Santa Claus who's thrilling visitors at an aquarium in Japan. He's playing with turtles and entertaining visitors. Santa apparently goes diving in the aquarium in Western Japan every year and can be seen swimming on weekends and holidays throughout December. An underwater Santa there. Let's just remind you of our top story. A Chinese technology executive whose detention in Canada has hit share prices around the world. She's requested bail, saying she's innocent of the charges against her. Do stay with us here on BBC World News. Much more coming up, but I'm on Twitter at Regin Ahmed BBC.
Hello. Well, Monday's looking pretty quiet for most of us on the weather front, and in fact, if you're wondering about the week ahead, it's not looking bad at all. It is going to turn progressively colder through the week, but nothing dramatic happening on the weather front. So let's see what's happening then on Monday. For many of us, it's actually going to start off fairly bright, if not sunny. A touch of frost is on the way, certainly for Scotland and northern parts of England. So here's the forecast then. Through the early hours of Monday morning, chilly northwesterly winds blowing in. Not much cloud out there, just a couple of showers maybe here and there. Here's that frost again across Scotland and northern England, down into Yorkshire as well, around -1–2 degrees. But to the south of that, it's closer to +5 for Cardiff and for London. So it starts off bright, if not sunny. Sunny particularly in the east, but very quickly, this cloud you can see out west will be brought in by an increasing southwesterly breeze, so it will end up pretty cloudy, if not grey, across many of these western areas. The mildest spot will be Plymouth, 12 degrees, pretty balmy here compared to Newcastle, only around 5 degrees Celsius. Then on Tuesday, slightly less cold air, even quite mild air heads our way. You can see this southwesterly wind and the sort of a tongue of warmth all the way up into the north. With that also a couple of weather fronts, one here which is actually not going to bring us much rain, even though you can see rain here. This is another weather front here which is basically just a fair bit of cloud. So Tuesday across much of Scotland, England and Wales, probably staying fairly cloudy with some sunshine poking through. Here's the other weather front. It's not making much progress, so it'll stay to the west of us, I think. So Belfast should be dry on Tuesday. And 12 degrees here, 12 for Plymouth as well. Then on Wednesday, we start to see a little bit of a change. The winds die down, and in fact, we start to develop an ever so slightly more easterly wind. That also means that the temperatures will start to dip. So I think for most of us, it's down to single figures, 6s and 7s, that sort of thing, maybe just about scraping a 10 there in Plymouth. Now, the bigger picture shows where the colder air is coming from on Thursday, in fact, all the way from Russia, across the Baltic, southern Scandinavia, the North Sea. You can see that colder air ends up right across the UK. Not desperately cold, but you will feel those temperatures dipping away as we go through the week. In fact, let's take a look at London then. You can see on Monday it's 10 degrees, by Wednesday it's 8. And on Thursday and Friday around 5 or 6 degrees, and at times pretty cloudy too, so it will feel cold. Bye-bye.
Follow the story, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. You can follow every moment in depth with BBC News. Get the full story at bbc.co.uk/news. Get the headlines as they happen with the breaking news alert. And keep up with events by watching the BBC News channel in the app. Follow the story wherever you are with BBC News.
This is weird, isn't it?
No, still weird. But if there's a report about where I live or what I do...
It usually sounds like this.
Or it might be this.
Or maybe even this.
Or sometimes this.
The BBC Young Reporter competition wants to change that.
If you're aged between 11 and 18 and have a story you think needs telling, the BBC can help you tell it. Find your voice and enter now at bbc.co.uk/Young Reporter competition.
This is BBC News, the headlines. A Chinese technology executive whose detention in Canada has caused protests from Beijing has requested bail. The chief financial officer of Huawei, Meng Wanzhou, was arrested at the request of the United States, which is accused her of fraud in violating American sanctions on Iran. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May has spoken to her Irish counterpart and the President of the European Council ahead of a planned parliamentary vote on her government's Brexit deal. Many MPs from her own party have called for a delay, but she insists the vote will take place on Tuesday. A 26-year-old man has been remanded in custody in New Zealand, charged with murdering a British backpacker. Grace Millane, who was 22, went missing more than a week ago. Yesterday, police found a body they believe to be hers in woods on the outskirts of the city of Auckland. Now on BBC News, it's Hard Talk with Sarah Montague, and the following programme includes accounts of sexual violence that some viewers might find upsetting.
Welcome to Hard Talk with me, Sarah Montague. When militants from the so-called Islamic State went into Nadia Murad's village in northern Iraq, they killed all the Yazidi men and took hundreds of women captive, where they were passed between different men and raped. Nadia eventually managed to escape and since then has become the face of a campaign for the world to take a tougher line on the use of sexual violence as a weapon of war. Today she'll be honoured with the award of the Nobel Peace Prize, and I'll be speaking to her again in Oslo later. I first spoke to her in London in 2016. Nadia Murad, welcome to Hard Talk. Before Islamic State militants came to your village, which was what, 18 months ago, can you give us some sense of what your life was like?
حياتنا قلق أش مرة خوش بو وقلق بسيط بو نشوان حياتي أو وقال قندادة بو هيش قلق مالت ما وكا مالا مبخوا خوشكو برايت ما هيش ناقص رو أو بون هيجش كربي جوان بو تشتوسا بس هرم بحياتها خود رادي بون أمد دوري هر مشكلة كي بون ما تعدك اليقينات كير ما أم بهر إنسانة كي رد تصريح بون حياتها ما قلق خوش بون بري بيك.
Can you tell us what happened when the militants from Islamic State came into the village?
السيمها هشت 2014 داعش هجومي إيز دياقرد شنغالي بري هنجي هجومي وكا كدبو منطقة دي وكا تلحفر وموصلوان أو ديدر وكا شيعة وكا مسيحيوان دراني نشمال دوان دركتن وكا خيار داني دركبن يا جزية بدن أو دركتن وقت هجوم دانا الشنغالي دانا إيزديا هاتنا إيزديا بكشتنا زلامت مو برناكا جوجنا هناك إيزدي قهشنا أجادش برجاي شنغالي رك نيزيكي قندابو قلق إيزدي جي قهشنا جا ونيزيكا 3000 زلامي وزاروكا وان روجا بري هاتا كشتن ومعوقو إيت حمرت مزنو أو بهزارة والروجة كجو جنشوان دراب خورا برنو زاروك قندي ما يدوري جابو أم محاصر ما نقاري مهمة أم نقشتي نجيب بيشا قندي ما قرتن داعش ما نقاري أم دركبن أم محاصر كرن القندة خلقي قند هموي بشتي أم محاصر كرينو چند روجة كدورا أم جي همو وكما طلبة مساعدة كرت نكدنا نيف معلادا الدورا قند بون ما تلفونا وتشتاوان هر جهة كي ما كاري ما تلفونا طلبة مساعدة كرم مساعدة مشالية كي بابيا كرن مزاني تشتكي بيس وما كان بس مساعدة ما نهاتا كرنش هر جهة كي با نش داخلي عراقي ونش غير شي بشتي چند روجا كا أمليكهم كرنم همو المدرسة ثانوية كوچودا وكم أو مدرسة الگوندي مدبت نبوم كرنا زكيوي مدرسة دا أم چند زاروك وجنو زلامو همو والورج داختم أم كرينا زكي مدرسة دا زلامت ما هموش نف مدرانين يزكا هفست زلامي الدورا قند رمي كرن كشتنا او زلامي الوي دريج بر وقتل با دين المكرن شهادنا ما دخيار الدانا ما يا كشتن بويامي دين اخو غيرين ام جنو زاروكو او جي تشتب ما با وقدرا بما جوهار وقستيل كو تشتويد ما با هموش ما كرن وام برنجي اكيدي ويروجي ده.
So you have a large family. How many of your brothers did they take?
برايت ما نهل نفوان دابون نف زلامت هكا هاتينا كشتن سيجي اش بريندارش نف رمياوان فلتين وخو آليا دبازدان وهرششت شوان ميسترد هات اد زوجي هرشش هادنا كشتن بغان زلامت هاتينا كشتن.
How did you know? Were you aware of what was happening?
او زلام وقتها همو برين زلامت كنت ما بران مجيل نفدا وكل الشباكة مدرسة وان مدي ومدن كي تلقات كر وقت الزلام كشتن وكب جابت خو من نديد براين مهادنا كشتن بس هتانوها أو هر هفسد زلام وهتانوها قندي مجي وكل دست داعش دام نجهشت نوان جد هكلي هاتنا كشتن وهتانوها أخبار كوان وكيكيش وان هر هفسد زلامي نما نزاهموها أنا كشتن نزاهن بخورة برنم تشتكيجي.
So 700 men disappeared, basically. They killed your mother as well, I think.
زعروق برن كركيت ات 4 سالي وسر برن بخورة معسكرة هر الوي روجج دا وهم كتشكد 9 سالي وسر شنيف درانين ودا كان مجيب هشتي جني راشت تشلو 5 سالي وسر تقوتن بحمرة مازنن وكا درانين اش هنجي دا ادون دابون وكا هناك قوتن كشتن هناك قوتن شنجي دا ما تشتكجي نزاني بس ببري دمها كا وقت هنش جزء الشنقال هاتي حر راندن مغبرة وان لهذا ديدن السولار هجداش عائلة مهاتان ويد كشتي ويد ونداوان ماينر بس هري اكيل بن حكمي وان دو في ظلمة بسري هاتي حسابتكم عائلة.
Can you tell us what happened when they took you and the other women? Where did they take you to? What did they do to you?
الوير روجة دا جهة روجة كهو المكرين بوشيف هتام جيك وقت عندن وكم كرنا أقسام بسدو بينجي كتشكي رأس و سيكا جد برايم هر سيجيش مكجك تربون مرش معلا معانين بسدو بينجي كتشكي روي شيبه أما بباسا بوزا أم برنا أموسل هیچ ما نزانی و ما کجن یا و چوب ما کن بس ما زانی وقت تشتكي قنج ما ناكنش برس زلام كشتن و جنب حمرت مازن كشتن و زاروك برن بس وقت مكرنا بوزادة ومبرن هرب ريبا مدبرنا موصل البوزادة داعش النف مدى دست خوات كرا بيسيرد مدى ريها خوال ما بداها طام نقهشتنا ويداري.
And then when you got to Mosul, what happened to you then?
أم برنا موسلم داني نبشيف المقرة كشت خواته وكا مقرة كي جلكي مازن بو تطبقي أو بو أم درباس كرني دا كجو جنو زارو كويت هكا بري ما قرتين بري قندي ما إجتي دا بونيد إستيا أم درباسي مقرة كرنوي شيف شو ما باجن كيشوان مقوتي دا بنيت شبوا كرينا وكا بري ما هون قرتينا نزان شبوا كرينا قوام نزيكا 4 كتشكو جنب تني آني نبي مقرر روجا بريا ما أم برين جو هتينا نف مدى داعش هر ساعة كيتين هنا قاعد بنت اختصابت كنو ديسابت جيرنو تفروش نوسا جوش نوها تصبهين وصل الوجه كن مزاني هكا وكوي وكوانا ميدي هو الماجيك.
And then what happened?
والروجينا روجا دي إيفاري هاتن كدنا نف مدى داعش وحركة جيا كش ياك رات كرش كشكا هركي ياكش خورت بر وكا قالك جيت هجت 10 سالي 12 سالي وانا بقالكش مكجكتر اتقاسي تشتان بزورا رات كرنوت برن ياك هاتا مجي كجت برايم وقت كشكوك بونود ودكريانو النويران ياك سرچرا وكا شوان مستر بوم خما بازفت كرن ياكيش وكا همو داعش بونو هموش ويتشتي راحات بونا ما همو جيك بيستر بون بس يكي جلكي مازن هاتم ويش هم أسرع كرم أزداني ما بنيوز شوان كجد براي مقود كرم أو جيش خو حركة يك شوان جيش خو ربر وقت أزداني ما بني على أساس أوي قلم بباز جلكي شوي ترسام يكي دي البر مرات شو لينجن وكا غير لينجن البر مرات شو المخاعبي تدا مقود تدا مدبي زبطر بين بس زفية قلورا نويرم كم جلكي مازنا ويا ضعيف كوتام كو أزتا بمقوتا ويا خلقوا أزي بيش خرب.
So you went with the man that you thought might be easier for you, a smaller man than the big man. And what did he do?
مزاني هر هكا كيجيز برم وكما اختصاب كنو جويت اشتراحاتي نما بس اوي ضعيف وكا واسبيرا شوم ازبر ما مقرر خو ولوي مقرر دا حرزو يدوي هابونو او قالك وكا وقت بأس اختصاب كريم وبطريقة كبزحمة وقالك زحمة المتكرن الوي وقت جدام قلت هكا هر وصابو خوزي زبوية قلو رتشوبا مهار دركت اوي قلو كجا براي مشي ويش مكتشكتر هر كجا كشيت براي مش خرابر همو جيك بزحمة تربون رحمل بايكيش همان ابو هر داعش بون وهر هر أو نفسايكم هموش اغتصابي رد بنن بس اغتصابك شي ما تكرنا بطريقة قالك بزحمة عمل باخو كتا كتشكل باخو نتشتنش إش أسبوعك يجي رايا أما الروش عادت فروتن الساعات عادت عادنا فروتن زوري وكا هاتش تشتي بيس ما تكرن ما تشتي هكا يشمل حياتي دي نديتي تشتي هكا ما نقف حلمي وكا أحلامي ما بونك هكا تشك أفتشت بسري ما بي بس وكا وصلنا.
You say your nieces were also there. How young were some of the girls that you were with?
كتشكيت بمرة 15 صالي حتى 15 صالي وبندبون زارو كدي هناك جن براين مجي وقتي أم قرتين بحال بون هيجي زارو بون.
You were held for 3 months. In that time, did you have conversations or any normal conversations?
بس بعائلة بون قالك جيب عائلة بون وأفتشتي وأذكرن أو عائلة خوها مو بيد رادي بون أمد برن وكا أم حكمت خود إسلامي أو جدوانت هكاتي أم بزوري وكا شهدا خود داب زوري أم بسلمان أذكرنا بسر بيتشتي بزوري أذكرنا أم كديني خوا بغير.
What, they would force you to pray, to behave like a Muslim rather than a Yazidi?
بله.
How did you manage to escape?
جارة بري وقت زلباوية هري بري بشتيس اغتصاب كرمو وسا مرة قالكي بيزبو مقو أزي بعزدم بهور نكرس خلاص ومجبر هر جاكي الموصل دا داعشي تيدبو هي روجت بري وكم مقو أزي بعزدم از دركت من بر شباكي راح حرزكي شوان سكرتم وقت يذكرتي مسكر ما غرفة كده الباوانجي قانونك هبو هر سبيا وككشكات قوتن سبيا هجا بازدابا هكا قردبانا اذكرنا مقراده هكا چند عشتي دبانت چونه بال وقت كرنا واند قوت وقت جهاد انك حجي ببيات شو بال الزكي ورده بسري كشكي بي وكا جبر بازداناوي وهنجز قرد مسكر ماني في حرزيت خدا بشتي هنجي وكا مقاوتنا ما سبيدي كعربم بفكر مجي أسباز بدم الموصل زلبا هاري تالية كي بتنيبو أو جي وكاوي هر أس سر الروجاوي أسفرود باما بشتي شو هناك جلكود مبينس خوفشوم أو كم جهناك بين مببن أش مقر دركتم مدي سابه ورنا كرس خلاص بس از دركت مسكت ما مالك إذا هر مالك بسلمان بالموصل علاقتي وان وكب داعش رنبون بس وكل ما على خود معبون مقوتي دم مساعدة ما بكن كاود بيبتشا هكب درابي هكب تشبي برامل ويدري يزي بشميدا بلا أوشكي وكاش ورقة بني ود بيتش بس مساعدة بكن قلت أما قوام نبدأ عشرنا وعلاقتي مشوانينا جدال مع أخوينا وكوشي وكدعاي لابون مساعدة مكرنا بهر تشتي هكا كارين وأسب جل كده رشوان كرمو بهوية إسلامية برما حدود.
And that allowed you to escape and get out.
وعائلة مساعدة مكرسات بما خلاص.
There are many women who've been held who killed themselves out of desperation. Was it something that at the time you thought?
وكا أمد كشتيبون اللي بدأ سد وعندا بيها كس بحاولين مخابكوش. مرن وكا زديم بجم مرن جارك يا كسلام مروف بمري جارك يا بس هرد ساعات متعدنا أو كشت المنزاني ترسا حاول دلي ما ده هبوش بر منزاني كي دقيقة وين ما بن وكي دقيقة يكش كي دريو كش تجهي وين ما با كشتن أس بي نفكر مخابكوش مجبر أزديم نواكو وقت داعش بري وانجي زديم بيجم كخودي حياتك دا زلاما كزلام تشب زلاما كر لازم زلام في حياتك بلنغازي به هكب ظلم هاتا سري مروف هكا تشلو به زلام تحمليه بك وزلام في حياتي رادي بتشتي خودي دا زلاما بس قالك اخو انتحار كر وكا كتشكش قندي موش غيري ديو.
But I wonder that you didn't question your faith. You didn't wonder, given what happened to you, whether there was a God.
ديم وكا إيمانا مبخودي هبو إنه أزي خلاص مش برش لكي ديبا أويت هكا هو المذكرن بشربون وكم بشربون ووقتي أم محاصر ماين وعالمها مو بيحسيا وبهزارة الجادبون محاصر مان وكا اشتهنا وشنيزا وان زاروك مرن عالمي همو هنجدي وكا يكي خو ندلبانت ديم خودي البيراميد ابو بشر مساعده بشر البيراميد نبو مساعده خودي هر البيراميد ابو بل وكم ملاتي ما همو ايمانا ما قال كيف خوديته وكم خودي هر دقيقه وطافت تشتب سري متى تكرنو وكا وقت اغتصابي وانجي هر خودي البيراميد ابو.
And we should explain that the Yazidi faith, there are only a few thousand people left in the world who practice.
ام اس دي اد عراقي وكو الكردستان دا بيسد هزارة علاقتي ما وكا تشديني ربي علاقتي ما بري هينا مسيحيارة وبسلمانارة وبيهوديارة هر جيكي وهر دينكي علاقتي ما بيرهينا واحترامها مش هر دينكي رهايا وكم امجي خودي وكا إيمانا ما بخوديتي كملاتي.
And when you think about the men who raped you in the time that you were being held, what do you want to happen to them?
مدفي محكمة كيفكن مدفي أويت هكا أفتشتكرين بين عدالتي وكا عدالة شب حقي وعن داديني بدايني.
You would like to see them prosecuted in an international court?
بل.
Do you also want to see soldiers, ground troops going in from Western countries to take on Islamic State?
وكا آلية عسكري وان تشتكيش عسكر وقوات وتشتي وصاوة وأسفهم ناكم بس هر دولتك وهر عسكرك الرابي لازم فكري وان هبي وكا زانب شبكن جا تعدل الواني كتوجني دستي واندن ناكرن وجا بس او داعش بين قرتن وكا قالك هين الوان منطقة سوريا والعراق وانجي وكو كب السلمانجي وكو عائلة هكاس خلاص كريم نف داعش جرينا مدفي وقف أبيت عسكري أو تشتكي بكن إنه داعش بيا قرتن داعش بين عدالتهم بس سألوني وكا هي منطقة ما نهاتنا حرر عندنا بكامل قالك بيت جد ما بين حرر عندنا ولو هاتانوها مقبرة ما تجد هاتنا حرر عندنا هاتنا بكرنجي لمدبه وكا قندي ما بيا حران دنس شم أم شن ببينن أم بسالوني بكا وكا أويت هاتينا كشتن كبرايت ما وبابت ما أم نزاننا نا آبه وكا هستي دوان برخبرينا نا حيوان برينا ما مدبه هر تشتكيش هر إنسانة كي ربكن أبيت هكا أب مليونا دركتين جدوان باقرين مدبه بانكا چوشنا خلاص كن.
There are young people all over the world who are attracted by what so-called Islamic State is doing and want to go and fight for them. What do you say to them?
الرسالة مش وان شبابا روش وان كتشكار خاصة بيت كهنة داعش بلا زانبن انه وقت عمد بيجنو و ما خوا دا كشتن هتا بس ام خلاص ببن اجبر داعش بس كشتن بو و اغتصاب كرن بو هر تشتي بيسي هكا نيزيكي ايش عقلي بشر نابي او تشتت كرن از بجمعوان بري هون بقهنا داعش بري زانبن كا داعش تشا نصر فكرك ديني هون چن بقهنا نصر تشتكي هكا بيجن ويش وراكن يا وسا داعش هر هكا نب بسلاحي بهرب إنسانتي كشتنا البيوانة وخسارة البيوانة وكاس جوان شبابا وان كتشكار ديسات بيجم خدوري في تشتي بدنيدا وببينن ام تشتكن هتا ام خلاصتكن وام تشتكن هتا ام ايد دستيوانت معي خلاص بكن.
You've been all over the world with your campaign to get the world to notice what's going on. You've spoken at the United Nations. What difference is it making?
إيش أمريكا هتا قد دولتات عربي وهتا بإت أوروبي وهتا بريطانيا جي وكهر يكي شما بال كرئيس كبرلمان أشوان رد بيجم وتشتي وكان هجم قد تشتي هكا مديتي وإيه هكا هتا نهد بيجي وهوكا هموزان كداعش أشوان رد بيجم وكا وقوهي خودنا وكا وعدكي ناتنا وعدكي هكا بيجن مفلان تشتيش وراكن أو تشتكي نهاتي كرنجي بيجن عمل وكا القضية نيرن بس هتانها تشتاقنا بوي وكا أف تشتيش شمشوان رد بيجي مستلبيش وان كم مدويل السر ساعتا تشي ببيش شبر مليون عالم اللي هي بيا حلك يا حلك الفي قضية الفي داعش بكن داعش خلاص بكن السر ساعتها طلبة مساعدة شوان كم خو بحركين بس وقف مهدي رجون زبي تشتيد بيجمو تشتاكين أبويا.
Do you have any hope that they will do something, that they will be able to stop ISIS?
أزل هي فيما.
Nadia Morad, thank you very much for coming on Hard Talk.
وقت هوا مقوت زي ما هارتوكم أو كريا قالك عالم بكي بوابيتها كاس ناس كلمة وتكوتن جاكي قالك أو عالم هم متابعات كا متبي وكا صار ريافيت في قناة وانو بيكي عالم تشتكيش مرة بكا خديهم جي تعبين ما هو كارن هرو وكف نبوا